Brier Hill survived the Depression area by a garden. Everybody had a big garden. You grew your own. Whatever that garden produces, what you lived on. Because you didn't have the money to go to the store and buy everything you needed. That's how Brier Hill Pizza came about.
Tell me about that.
Well, Brier Hill Pizza, and Brier Hill Pizza was made from the Pittsburgh area up the river all the way to Newton Falls. You know, the steel mill area. But it was discovered out of poverty. Tomatoes and peppers were the biggest thing that came out of your garden. And flour for the crust and the dough was given to us during the Depression years by welfare, Allied Council. That was the name of those places that gave to the poor. And Brier Hill Pizza came about of the dough that was left over after you baked 23 loaves of bread to take your family until the next time you were allowed to use the outdoor oven. Because this was all done outdoors in a big stone brick oven that kept going around the clock. For example, Lafayette Street from Oakland to the Delaware Avenue turnoff, their day was Wednesday afternoon to go bake their bread. Seneca Street was Thursday. Superior Street, and I'm using examples, was Friday in that same oven.
Where was the oven located?
Well, there were a number of them. There were, in her neighborhood, there were some on Dearborn Street, some on Federal Street. There was one on Robinwood. And in my neighborhood, there were two of them on Oakland Street. I believe one on Funston Street. One on one on Victoria Street. And those took care of each area.
And how did someone manage these, or were they just communally maintained?
The men built them. Yeah. Those were brick that the steel mills discarded, and they went and took them up, and guys like my dad and other stonemasons, because you have to understand, Brier Hill had many bricklayer stonemasons. That was their number one industrial education, I should say. And of course, making steel.
Sure.
That was it. But they would get the discarded fire brick that when they tore down a blast furnace or an open earth furnace, they'd throw that old stuff away, and the men would go in there and scab and stood and get enough brick to build an oven. And they kept the fire going. The men would they'd get up 3 o'clock in the morning before they went to work at 7 o'clock in the mill and light the fire so that the women could start baking bread when the sun came up. And it just went over and over.
We knew there'd be 5 families maybe, all right, like on my street. So we knew what day that two or three families could use that. And then maybe, and they had a schedule.
So there were no disputes. It was
No.
If you ran overtime, they'd jump in and help you bake.
Yeah. Or if somebody was coming out of town or something, you wanted a day for pizza now. Oh, sure, okay.
And the pizza came about if they did a tub of dough. That's how they described the amount of dough they made. They did a tub. They took what they needed, 23 loaves, and there was some dough left. They rolled it up in the pan. A pizza pan consisted of a lard can lid. That's how we made it.
Wow.
Upside down. And then put the grease in it, put the dough in it, peppers and tomatoes. That was Brier Hill pizza. If we were lucky enough to have Romano cheese. That's all that you were allowed to put on there was Romano cheese. Today you got the mozzarella with the olives, mushrooms, sausage. That's fine. But we didn't have access to this when we were growing up. Sausage was something you tasted maybe 6 times a year.
Sausage, though.